Hello and welcome to my 14th video of 2021, and haha, oops, it's been 3 months since my last video. I'm sorry about that. I've had super low energy and no motivation, and work has been really busy and the typical excuses, but hey, at least it hasn't been 4 months since my last video, right? I'm exploring some more games, as this is the first DBD video on my channel, and we'll see if I land on something that I can make content for more often, as Sea of Thieves is kind of hard to do as a solo player, and I'm pretty much alone most of the time doing this. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a big ol' like and subscribe to tell me to make more of this kind of content. So as the title alluded to, we'll be talking about rank resets in DBD and why they kinda suck for the game. Every month on the 13th, because that's the spooky number, ranks get dropped back a little bit in Dead by Daylight. And just for visual, this is where you'll end up rank-wise, depending on what your rank is prior to the reset. And I think it's worth pointing out that rank reset has a couple of positives around it. Firstly, it lengthens the progression experience to essentially infinity. A lot of players are motivated by the goal to get to rank 1, and if every month they're kind of pushed farther away from that goal, they'll play more in order to try and reach that goal again. If a player is rank 1 forever, they might just kind of lose interest. Secondly, it shortens queue times a bit because there's a rank event on the 13th of each month. You should play around that time because you'll have a shorter queue time because ranks are condensed a bit and more people are playing. There used to be, and there really should be, rewards on the 13th of each month just to give more reason for players to jump in, but we can talk about that later. And it's also useful for players who have hit a wall where their games are kind of getting too difficult for them. And this really only applies to players at rank 16 and worse, as you can't depip in those ranks. So if you're hitting rank 16 and they're just too hard for you, then you can kind of get reset back a bit and learn the game again. And those are some fairly decent reasons to have rank reset around, but I think that there are enough negatives to warrant some reworks. So let's talk about why it doesn't work and cases that it fails. So firstly, and this is the biggest one for me, if someone like me stops playing Killer for a few months or stops playing the game in general for a few months, I'll rank down a lot, to or close to rank 20. And the issue with that is relearning the game is going to be a lot faster than learning it for the first time. Within a few games, I feel like I'm back into the swing of things completely, and now I'm fighting with the ranking system in a number of ways. And I do think it's worth pointing out that this issue is much more pronounced as a killer, because if you're a survivor who's much better than the killer, then the killer can just go after someone else and they'll probably do just fine. So big point number one, quickly stomping on enemies as a killer is actually punishing you instead of sitting there and farming them over a long period of time, which is not fun at all. The better you are, the faster you end games, the less points you'll get and the slower you'll rank up. And on the other side of that, survivor groups getting completely dominated feels awful for them. Imagine it's one of your first games playing Dead by Daylight, you're kind of trying to learn the ropes, and you go against a nurse with Ruin Undying, Pop, and Barbecue, and you get your shit kicked in. You might just be like, wow, that sucked. I don't want to play Dead by Daylight anymore, and off they're going to play something else. And as a killer re-ranking up, it's also excruciatingly boring. It took me days before I found an interesting match. It might be fun to stomp a survivor team once or twice or 3 times, but it really just gets very boring after a while. I had to switch back to survivor during the middle of a stream because I just felt like the games were awful to both watch and play. And while 13 is a spooky number and that's funny, a lot of other rank reset systems happen after the player has stopped playing for a while. In Counter-Strike, after a month of not playing ranked, your rank will decay. But with DBD, you could be on top of your game on the 12th and climbing up the ranks, and then on the 13th you wake up and your rank went down, and that could be pretty demotivating. If you're rank 5, you might as well be rank 8 because you'll both end up in the same spot. And honestly, thinking over, I don't think there need to be a lot of big changes in order to make the experience a lot better. Behavior is working on a skill-based matchmaking MMR system which could circumvent all of these issues. The pip system and ranks and emblems are cool and all, but it's much less functional and flexible than an MMR system. With MMR, I could be doing very well and be getting huge boosts in my ranking when I dominate opponents consistently, and conversely, if I'm sucking really bad, I'll lose rank much faster. So not only does it make my experience more rewarding, it also limits the bad experiences of other players that get absolutely stomped by me when I'm re-ranking up at rank 18 as a killer. And I consider the idea of just not rank resetting at all. What would happen then? But I do think it's very important to make the first few matches of a returning player to be kind of easy because you want them to stick around. So instead of having them get absolutely bodied because they're rusty as hell at rank 2 and they haven't played in 4 months, it's better to give them an easier onboarding just so that they hopefully stick around for longer and buy more skins. And if we can't have MMR yet, I think the next best thing will be some rework to the pip system. If a game is over in 5 minutes with 4 deaths or 3 deaths and a hatch, then the killer should be guaranteed 2 pips, and there should honestly be a system in place where you could get more than 2 pips. And that's kind of a key component of other ranking systems, where when you return, your MMR is volatile. If you win, your rank will go up by a lot. If you lose, your rank will go down by a lot, because the system is trying to figure out where you're placed. But in DBD, there is no such thing. So a suggestion is that at the lower ranks, maybe 12 to 20, there are systems in place where players get rewarded extra pips for doing certain things. And I'm going to focus on killer because this is kind of mainly a killer focused video, but stuff like getting it down within the first 30 seconds, extra pip for that. Ending a game without a generator being completed, an extra pip for that. Ending a game without any survivor getting more than 10,000 blood points, an extra pip for that. Things like that happen already. They happen already when a killer is absolutely dominating a match. You should just give them extra pips so that they can rank up faster. And when you get into the green ranks, you can sort of phase this out either slowly or altogether, because when you're at that rank, players for the most part know what they should be doing, and they're also much more invested in the game. At that rank, if you get your shit kicked in by a really good wraith or a nurse or whatever it is, you're not going to churn out of the game just because you had one bad experience. What are your thoughts on these ideas? Have you had good experiences with rank reset in DBD, or have you had really bad experiences? Talk in the comments and we'll chat a bit. If you learned something or enjoyed or agree or disagree, please leave a like and subscribe to help me grow as a content creator, and remember, happy gaming.